How is it going? Are you ready for this one? You're not ready at all. Excellent. So it's been going really good, and we've been bringing you interviews touching on different things, right? Multiplication with discipleship. And today we are doing the icing on the cake. Today is dessert day, the sweet stuff, the extra, the toppings. And today I have the great honor of interviewing two amazing men of God, giants in our generation, movement leaders. I'm a bit jealous that they both happen to come from Nairobi, Kenya. But it's okay, our brothers and sisters from Nairobi, we shall just forgive you. But we are adopting them in Uganda. You Kenyans, stop your noise makers. Sit down. Apostle, order in the house. All right, so it's really exciting. I would like you at Proclaim 2023 to help me make welcome today Pastor Jimmy Macharia.
Thank you.
And Bishop Dodzweit Achero.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Okay, sit down. I know these two have that effect on people. You just feel like noise is coming out of you. Thank you so much for being here for Proclaim. To delve straight into it, we'll start by letting you introduce yourselves to these people. I've only told them your names, but just a little bit more, where you lead, what it looks like. Yeah.
All right. As you have heard, I'm Jimmy Macharia. And I'm blessed to be married to Mercy Macharia. She's over there. Come on. Is that how you're appreciating? I need an usher. That's my wife. We are blessed with two wonderful kids, a girl and a boy, and some other rowdy extended family. And we run a ministry and a movement now.
Come on now.
For fear of being slapped by Matt.
Yeah.
We run a movement called Harvest Family Church, which we have the Greater Love Church as another movement from it, and the Ark Youth Church, which also stems from the Harvest Family Church.
Wow.
Thank you.
All right. As you've heard, my name's Dodzweit Achero. I'm married to this beautiful, gorgeous, immaculate, drop-dead diva wife. Her name is Mary Achero. And I must say that I don't appreciate the way you have celebrated her. Can you make it louder, please? Thank you very much. You know, I must make sure where I'm going, it is safe. And she's also leading a church. I think for us, we are in between a ministry and a movement. Because, of course, we have the church, City of Transformation Church, and I just started a youth movement called Transformers Youth Church, which is just a service for young people. So we do the first service for everybody else, and then the second service, we are loud, we are crazy. We do all the things that young people love doing. I even change my dressing. First service, I wear a suit and a tie.
Come on.
I look very formal. You know, second service, I wear my jeans. I'm yet to get to the rugged jeans. I wear my
You
jeans
get there.
and my T-shirt, and we just have a great time. So that's what we do.
Excellent. Great. So one of the things that these two men of God have done so well and we've admired and infected our apostle with is the art of following. The power of following and how it accelerates your leadership and the things that you lead. So we want to hear the stories from both of you. Following, when did it begin? How did it change your life? Who are you following?
I think bishops should start.
I must say that I am from Kenya, a beautiful country. And when I started, the ministry, there was that desire, to have a template that can be able to move the ministry to the next level. Because it's one thing to start a church, and it's a totally different story, to move that church to the next level.
Yeah.
Because you can just have an ordinary church where people come, you preach to them, and they go home. And our model in our country was very Americanized.
Okay.
Which is not bad, but we are in Africa. And we have African problems, we have African demons,
Hey.
we have African challenges. And so there was a gap. And before that, when I joined another ministry to work with, I met Pastor Jimmy. And from day one, something clicked, between him and I. And we became friends. And we are still friends.
Yes.
And our friendship is growing deeper and stronger every day.
Hey.
Yeah, so I call him my covenant brother.
Oh, wow.
And so he was the first one to be sent out. And so he went and started the church, and then I was sent several years later. But our friendship continued. And then one time, when we were talking, he told me, there's a man I've met, and I think you should also meet this man. And he gave me a couple of books, and I started reading the books, and I got interested.
Okay.
And so I told him, who is this man? Where is he? And he told me, by there, I've been to Ghana, and I've gone and seen what he's doing. He's doing an amazing job. And that man is Bishop Doug Heward Mayers.
Come on. Woohoo!
And so, of course, there was a tug of war, in my heart, because I felt I'm under another bishop that I was working with. And but after talking to him, I realized that he was ready, to let me follow somebody that can impact my ministry, impact me as a person, and allow me to sow in the ministry. So finally, I went, to Ghana, and I was blown away to see ministry in a very different way.
Yeah.
How people are trained to do the work of the Lord. The kind of teachings that I encountered there is not something that I had had before.
Yeah.
Loyalty, working for the Lord, raising up diligent foot soldiers who can just do the work of the ministry, sending missionaries. That is not what we were used to. What we were used to is come to a church, make it big.
Make it big.
And drive a nice car.
Come on now.
And have a beautiful wife who is a flower girl every Sunday morning.
The flower girl.
And stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it totally shifted my thinking
Yes.
about ministry, and I started following him. I got his books, started implementing some of the things I was seeing in the book.
Yeah.
And I remember one of the things I started doing immediately is to train workers for the ministry. Our church was very small then, and I just stood up on Sunday and announced, I want to start training people who want to serve God.
Bishop, if you can tell us, when you say it was small, about how small? What is your small? There are levels of smallness, sir. Your small might be our dream, but just how small was it? When was that?
Okay, when we started the church, we were 109.
Fire. What a start.
And a greater majority were children.
Fire.
All right? So when I'm talking about small, we were like around 120, 130 there.
Okay.
And so and then I started doing the training for workers.
Yeah.
You know, when I was announcing, I was even scared because I didn't know who will come and who will not come. But that morning, at least, I started seeing people coming, and we started doing training Sunday morning, and then the numbers grew. People are now involved in ministry. We pushed it to Saturday. It started growing and growing and growing. Then started teaching other things like loyalty, you know, serving God. You know, I started talking to them about church planting, giving yourself wholly to the Lord. And over the years, through following Bishop Doug and going for conferences and listening to him, I try and listen to him every week.
Wow.
I've seen a lot of changes in our ministry. There's been growth, there has been depth. That's why I can even come to Uganda with people. I came with 13 members of our church who are here because they have caught the virus for ministry and they really want to serve God. And so I can say that following is really, really powerful.
Yeah.
And following Bishop Doug has really, really impacted my life and impacted my ministry. Just one more thing before I finish. I remember I was even looking for an opportunity to meet him. And so I spoke to Pastor Jimmy because Pastor Jimmy, you know, he was on the high table as,
all right,
as we were others.
Okay.
So I told him one day, when you're going to the high table,
remember me.
Remember me.
Yes.
So he was kind enough
to
introduce me to Bishop, and we had a very short meeting. I remember he asked me, how is your ministry? And I started telling him how the ministry is growing. We are growing in numbers, we are exploding.
Come on.
We are now thinking of moving to a new location.
Yes, please.
And I'm on television.
Fire.
You know, I'm preaching on television. I'm a televangelist.
Televangelist.
And he was just listening to me. And then I realized he was not really impressed
Oh, no.
by what I was saying. So I slowed down.
Okay. Wisdom.
Wisdom.
Yeah. So when I slowed down, I kept quiet.
Okay.
Then he asked me, have you bought land for the church?
What was your answer, sir? Televangelist.
I was embarrassed. Then he told me, go and buy land for the church. That was the end of our meeting.
That was the end of the meeting.
Yes, that was the end of the meeting. Let me tell you, I felt very small. I started hitting my head saying, what were you talking about? Yeah, why did you say so many things? You know, but I thank God for that challenge.
Yes.
Because I went back, you know, I remember I was sitting in my office one time and they used to bring me a breakdown of the expenses.
Yes.
You know, of the ministry. And every time I used to see number one was rent. We were literally working for the landlord of that particular place. So one time I just stood up and I remembered the words of Bishop Doug, go and buy land. And I was leaving my office and my wife asked me, where are you going? I said, I'm going to look for land.
Wow.
She asked me where. I said, I don't know, but I'm going.
Yes. I love it.
Yeah, so I got out of the office. Then I asked myself, by the way, where am I going? Then I called one of my sons. He's here. He's a pastor now, Pastor Saif.
Yes.
I told him, I want you to come. Drive me anywhere there is land.
Wow.
Let's start looking for land. And of course, we drove, looked for land, different places. And then finally, God led us somewhere, connected us with a guy who was not even a member of our church.
Yeah.
And he's also here now. Now he's a member of our church.
Wow.
He's called Macau.
Wow.
This is the guy, you know, and you can see he really looked smart. He was not like this. It is the church which has transformed him. Because when I met him, he was wearing gumboots, and it was during the day.
He was looking for land, sir.
And he had a very old T-shirt. And I told him, there is a land I've identified here. Do you know the owner? He said, I have all the papers for this land.
Wow.
And he gave me the papers immediately, cut the long story short. We bought the land. That's where we are.
Wow.
And now we are building a cathedral
Come
there.
on! The church is established. Wow. Already, I'm sure you're learning so much just from the story. The power of following. The man on the high table. Sir, tell us, how did you get to the high table? Hey.
You people. Well, I must say that we started our church in 2009. I had a great desire for church growth. I was praying that the Lord would help me to know how to grow the church.
Yeah.
And so one of the days, I met a lady who gave me a CD, the days of CDs, CD like cassette.
It's okay.
Not the other CD.
It's fine. Oh, Pastor Jimmy.
Okay, you'll get it when you get home. Anyway, Bishop, that CD cassette was Bishop Doug preaching on demons and how to deal with them.
Fire.
And I started listening, and I was driving, and I was listening, and I said, what? I was so happy to listen to that message. He was actually preaching in South Africa. And I called the person who gave me the tape and asked, where is this church? And they explained to me. So I drove there, and I found so many books. I said, give me each copy of all his books.
Wow.
So I bought the books. I went with them to my office. I placed them next to my desk there, floor. So I used to turn like this. I see church administration. Because when you want church growth, you must be hungry for it.
Okay.
You must be thirsty and hungry for it. So I used to look, I see church administration. I pick the book. I read. Then one time I saw the mega church. I thought I'm in the Proclaim 2023. I saw the mega church. And I said, this is what I'm looking for, a mega church. And so I picked the mega church. It's somewhere
right
there,
there.
yeah. No, don't bring it. Hold your horses. Behave. So I read the book. I used to read it, and I implement what I read.
Implement.
So the church moved from 114 to 200 to, by the time I was going to Ghana in 2010, we were almost 300 people.
Wow.
So because I was told about the conference in Ghana, and I said, I'm going to go. I don't know anybody there. I'm just going to go.
Yeah.
And so I left my country. I went to Ghana in the conference. I used to come, you know, like the way Kenyans we are. We come around 9, 10. When you come, you find the hall almost 15-something thousand people packed. So I have nowhere to sit unless I go to the overflow chapel. And that's where I used to stay, in the overflow chapel. And I followed him. I kept on going. The second year, then the third year, he came to Kenya for a camp. And I begged to be in that camp. So I sat in the camp. I was there for some time. At the end of the camp, I said, can I speak to him?
Yes.
So they allowed me to speak to Bishop Doug. And I was there talking like Pastor Dodzweit, talking. And he's just saying, wow. Wow. So by the time I left, I was feeling so stupid. I said, how can I just talk in the presence of greatness? To cut the long story short, the next year I went for that same year I went for Give Thyself Wholly, which was iron sharpens iron. And when I went, Bishop Doug was asking for an offering, and I decided to give. as I was giving my offering, he said, "Is this not the pastor from Kenya?" He said, "See me after this."
Wow.
And the rest is history.
No. No, we must know what's happened after. The meeting, did he still say, wow. Wow.
So, well, after that, of course, I was invited to now the high table.
Hey.
I started meeting all these mega church pastors, Bishop Mosa Sono. At one point, I was with Benny Hinn.
Hey.
So today there'll be a healing service here because
it's a real high table.
I met amazing, great men of God. But now what made the difference is following. I mean, because following is, first of all, very difficult. Because nobody gives you money to follow them. You actually have to sow seeds.
Yes.
Because following includes sowing of seeds. You have to pay your own ticket, find your own accommodation to follow the person. So I've done that from 2010 till now.
13 years.
For 13 years. I want you to know that, I don't know about you, but I have come to see that there is nothing as powerful as following. Because a lot of impartation takes place as an art of following. If you can follow a man, a man that God has given you to follow, you'll be surprised what will happen to your life and ministry.
Wow.
Oh yeah, because we started growing. I remember one of these times he told me, come to Korea. Come to Korea. I started traveling because I started following Bishop Doug.
Wow.
I was never traveling. I mean, I started traveling properly because I was following Bishop Doug.
Properly.
You know, properly.
There is proper
I see you traveling properly.
I receive it.
So, I started traveling. So he took me to South Korea.
Yeah.
So when you move with him, the best thing about it is that after the sessions, he sits with you. You guys, the guys who have come.
Yes.
He walks with you. He was taking us from one room to another in Korea.
Wow.
The largest church in the world. Dr. Yonggi Cho, he tells us, can you see this? Can you see this? Can you see this? And he said, we have this. I copied it from here. We have this. He was telling us.
Wow.
So when we were in Korea, our church was in a rented place, in a tent.
Fire.
And I'm telling you, I used to think I'm the mighty man of God.
Fire. Mightiest man of God.
Apostle General.
In the tent.
In the tent. And I'm telling you, one of the things is that people used to come on Mondays, pastors, to check, to watch our tent, to see it, to say, wow, this man of God is really graced the tent. And now I'm standing there with Bishop Doug in South Korea, and I'm giving my testimony of the tent.
No.
And around him are these wonderful bishops within his church who all have cathedrals. And I'm putting my hands in my pocket, and I'm saying to him, we just moved into this wonderful piece of land, which was like a 1/4 acre. And we have put a huge tent there. God is helping us. And he looks at me and he says, Pastor Jimmy. He even didn't call me Pastor Jimmy. He said, Jimmy, why are you always why are Kenyans always in tents? You can imagine what happened to me. Yeah? And I felt so little. And I think that that's why God wants you to follow someone.
Yes.
So that when you think you have arrived, you realize, brother, you have not even started. And I remember he said to me, go and build. And I was like, man of God, we don't even own land. How do I start building? But anyway, when I left Korea, I just told God, give me land. That was in October. And in December, I was kneeling down and I was asking God for land.
Yes.
And somebody just texted me. While I'm kneeling down, I'm saying, Lord, give us land. and somebody says, we have this piece of land, I think it will be good for our church. Come and watch, come and see it.
Wow.
To cut the long story short, we are in that land.
Yes.
And we are debt free.
Oh, yes.
Now, I followed him again to Ethiopia. This is my last testimony.
It's good. We
for
like
now.
it.
I have too many testimonies. But I followed him in Ethiopia, Addis Ababa. And one day we were having dinner.
Yes.
And I was, because our church was a warehouse, which is half stone and then half iron sheet.
Okay.
And so what we had decided to do is to put boards inside, gypsum,
Okay.
make it look beautiful.
Come on now.
And so that when you're inside, you think that you're in a stone church.
Oh.
So I was busy testifying to
Again.
Bishop Doug. Again, how we are doing this and we are doing that, and he asked me, what is gypsum? Like he didn't know what gypsum is. And we had to explain to him. And then he asked me, Pastor Jimmy, you can't put one stone on top of another stone.
Ouch. My goodness.
And what I did is that every time he speaks to me like that, I believe God is speaking to me.
Yes.
And that's one of the powerful things about following. When you follow a man that you believe God has asked you to follow, their speech, God uses them
It's true.
to speak and to give you direction.
Yes.
My longest flight was from Ethiopia to Nairobi because my vision had changed.
Wow.
I was going back home to build.
Yes.
So everybody in my church was flashing before me. I was saying, that one does not have money. That one does not have money. That one does not have money. This is 2018. I think 2018, 2017, I can't remember. But our building project began in 2018, I think November.
Wow.
We have been building. We
Look
are
at
building.
that. There it is. That is the building project.
Oh yes.
If you don't have a building project like that, you can celebrate. What a building project. From a tent.
Wow. Do you have another part of the building? So it looks better than it looks now because we have finished putting glasses.
Wow.
And all that.
For us, we understand. We understand. Look at that.
Yeah, so we built, this is the initial, anyway, we have built,
Wow.
It is debt-free.
Wow.
So far, we have spent around $1.2 million. And,
Did you say dollars?
yeah, dollars. Not Zimbabwean dollars. Forgive me, Pastor Cedric. But I am trying to say that out of following, following, God has blessed us tremendously. Tremendously. And today we are building. We started and we have never stopped building.
Yes.
And people used to laugh at our church and say it's full of young people and it's a youth group, but they are the ones who have given. We have no dollar from any country, just the Kenyans themselves.
Wow.
And so, I mean, if you have an issue with following Bishop Doug, I pity you. Oh yes, I really feel sorry for you, and I'm sorry because you are missing a lot. So that's a nutshell of our relationship with Bishop Doug.
Thank you so much, Pastor Jimmy. I know that is a little more, but just the little that you shared, I'm sure has sparked something on the inside of us. But I want to lean in even a little, just at least for a minute or two. I feel like Bishop Dodzweit, you did not tell us at least one thing that has changed tremendously that can paint the picture for us as a result of following Bishop Doug.
I think I did. Maybe you didn't listen.
Ouch.
I'm sorry. But what I want to say is one main thing that really, really has stuck with me, which Bishop Doug has challenged me to do, is to ensure that the church is settled. Because you can do church for many years,
Yes.
but the church doesn't have land, the church is not stable, and you don't really look serious. It's like you're not committed to this,
Oh, dear.
ministry thing. And that is one thing that I really want to thank God for.
Yes.
For meeting Bishop Doug, because, as I said, we've been able to buy land.
Yes.
And even the buying of the land, I remember he kept on saying that, don't go to the bank.
Eish.
Don't take loans, And you have a piece of land here, and I agree with Pastor Jimmy. You have a piece of land here. They give you the amount. And then immediately, you start looking at your members.
Yes.
And you're wondering, these people, will they raise this money? And there's this temptation of going to the bank, talking to the bank to give you a loan so you can seal the deal, and forget about it. Let me just go back a little bit.
Yeah.
Before we moved to the land that we are in, there was a land that we had seen where we were, and we wanted to buy it.
Yes.
And it was quite expensive. And so we did our calculations to see if we can buy it. And at some point we were tempted. Let me use the word tempted. We were tempted to go to the bank. And as I was listening to Bishop Doug, he kept on saying, don't go to the bank. Don't take a loan. And then one time I had him quote Bishop Oyedepo.
Yeah.
When he was talking about church growth and stuff. So I went to listen to some of the sermons that Bishop Oyedepo had done on church growth.
Yes.
And do you know what? The first sermon I listened to, Bishop Oyedepo said, don't go to the bank
Wow.
to take a loan to buy land for the church. So it was very clear
Yeah.
that I can't go that direction. So, of course, the place we wanted to buy, it had issues. There was something that happened to our church. The church was brought down.
Yeah.
It was destroyed. And so we had to look for an alternative where now we are. So when we moved there, I just challenged the people and I told the people, we have to give
Yes.
towards this project. And through teaching, through encouraging people, people were motivated to give. And I am happy to announce, by the grace of God, we were able to buy 2.5 acres without a bank loan. It is fully paid for.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, very prime area, fully paid for. And as I said, now we have started building. So the reason why my picture is not here is because we have started building. So there is not much to show, but we know that we will finish by the grace of God. Amen.
Pastors, come on. I hope you're inspired to go and buy some land now.
And just to add to what I've said, another thing that I can also say that I picked from Bishop Doug is you must always train people, who can go out to plant churches. Because initially, my thinking was, have this big church and then be on TV and reach the world. You can reach anyone in the village, you can reach anyone in the cities, but after meeting him, he said, no, you have to plant churches.
Yes.
You have to go out and plant churches. And so I started doing a training for pastors who I can train to send out.
Yes.
And so far, right now, we have planted 5 churches.
Yes.
By the grace of God. And the churches are doing very well.
Wow.
And our goal is to plant at least 1,000 churches.
Come on, Apostle. Your dream is right here.
And yesterday when Apostle was preaching,
Yeah.
I want those 1,000 churches to have
1,000 members.
1,000 movements.
Hey.
And all those 1,000 churches to have 1,000 disciples. So I want to replicate what Apostle said yesterday here. But at least we must plant 1,000 churches. That is the lowest figure.
Wow.
When it comes to church planting for us.
Thank you, Jesus. It shall be. Pastor Jimmy, you wanted to say something.
Actually, I wanted to say that I wanted to also say that because of Bishop Doug
Yeah.
and my relationship with him, we have 17 branches. I was going to get the book because I was just waiting.
He
When
stopped at
Apostle
18.
Moore, then he stopped at 18.
Why?
And then I was like, right now we have planted 17 branches
Wow.
across. And I got the idea of the Greater Love Church,
Yes.
which is what Pastor Bonnie here, the noisemaker,
The noisemaker.
is
Leading.
is leading. Then we have another one called the Ark Youth Church, which is for the teenagers, and it's a
Wow.
church with its own pastors.
Wow.
Its own pastors. The pastors there are 20 years old, 17, I think 18 and 20-year-olds in that Ark Youth Church. And then now we have the mother of them all, which is Harvest Family Church. And yesterday I was being told that our harvest groups, which is what is supposed to be missional groups, are 365.
Wow.
And we have 462 shepherds. So what we are going to do now, what we have learned from here, is that we are going to make them more missional than what they have been. So at the moment we have 365 harvest groups and then 462 shepherds. So all this, I would say, is my relationship with Bishop Doug, and also in relation to that, meeting Apostle Moore, you know, and speaking to us. And, you know, I'm surprised at how Apostle Moore does it, but anyway, God is good. Amen. We shall learn.
We shall
Amen.
learn. Excellent. So much to learn. I want to lean in lastly on something. You see, it's one thing to have someone to follow, but it's another to also have peers to do life with and to spur one another on. And the two of you said that you're covenant brothers, which I think is something that we can learn from. How has your friendship impacted your life and ministry?
All right. Anyway, Bishop Dodzweit has been my friend for maybe almost 20 years now.
Wow.
Maybe 15, 17 years, yeah, since 2005. And as we went now into church planting, our relationship became stronger. And I feel that, like when I was raising funds for our land, he would come and support in terms of preach and help raise funds.
Wow.
All right? When he was raising funds for his whatever, he would invite me to go and help and raise funds.
Wow.
Now that is on the pulpit realm. And by the way, when you invite people to your church, you must be sure that they are of a kindred spirit.
Come on.
Because you will bring somebody to your church who will teach your people the direct opposite of what you have been trying to build. And so what I felt God was giving me in Bishop Dodzweit is a man of a kindred spirit. And that is why I pushed him to know Bishop Doug, relate with Bishop Doug, so that our relationship will go deeper because we speak the same language. And so that is one of the blessings that I have received. Then socially,
Yes.
you know, I don't know who's more fun to be around. I don't know whether it's me that makes him laugh or it is him that makes me laugh. But that also makes our friendship very unique because we laugh, we play golf together, we enjoy ourselves, and
what games do you play with your friends?
I don't mean to be braggadocious, but but you need a friend you can play golf together. Look at your neighbor, tell your neighbor, I'll play golf with you.
I'll play golf with you.
So I think, I don't know why I mentioned golf. I should have kept quiet. But I met a Ugandan pro in Kenya, and I was telling the Ugandan pro that I need you to go and train somebody for me. I'm willing to pay
we know who that somebody is.
for the training. And that person is Apostle Mo because he's missing out. I don't know what Pastor Dodzweit has to say about it.
All right, I think he has said almost everything. When I started the church, one of the things I realized is...
Hey, Bishop, we see what you're doing. Come on now. That's Bishop Dodzweit's church building project.
Wow.
Wow, it's massive.
That's ginormous.
That is massive.
Wow.
Massive. My goodness. Come on. Wow.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Can I go home? Can I go home?
He's currently in the tent, but he's coming out.
I'm coming out and I'm coming up.
Oh, yes.
I wanted to say, thank you. I wanted to say that one of the things I realized when I was sent out to start the ministry is, as a pastor, you can be very lonely.
Yes.
In fact, the higher you go, the lonelier it becomes. Because you find that it's very difficult to relate with everybody because of where you are. And then there are things now you cannot even share with your members because your members see you almost like Jesus. You are a problem solver. You have all the answers. And so you can show weakness to your members. And so I felt I needed to have somebody that I can relate with at the same level. We can talk, we can eat together, we can play golf together.
Come on.
We can go and relax together. There are times we have scheduled just to go somewhere with our families.
Oh, wow.
To be together and just relax. And this is somebody that you're not relating with so that they can invite you to preach.
Yes.
Because most of the relationships I've seen in the ministry is, I want to relate with you so that you can invite me, to come and preach. But I think we need to go beyond that. So our relationship with Pastor Jimmy is not about performance. It's not about him inviting me to preach or whatever. We just decided that, hey, we need to be friends. We can catch up. We can talk. In fact, I think 2 weeks ago, I called him and we started talking. We talked about so many things. I think we talked for almost 2 hours on the phone about everything.
Wow.
And then we realized, hey, we have spoken for, 2 hours on the phone. I think we need to schedule, lunch and sit down and talk. And so my relationship with him has been very beneficial to me. I have learned a lot, from him. I have bounced off ideas with him.
Yes.
Sometimes when I have challenges in the ministry, and every pastor goes through challenges, you need somebody that you can talk to. I talked to him, I asked him, how did you handle this? How did you deal with this? And you see, as you talk, you're able to glean from somebody's experience and wisdom, and it makes you a better person. So I love him, and he knows that, and I love his family. In fact, recently, his daughter spent almost the whole day with my daughter. They went out.
The daughter is here.
My daughter is here, Ashley.
Ashley.
And I was very happy to see them together. Almost the whole day. They went shopping together. They talked, and we don't even have to know what they're talking about.
No, you don't.
But we know that relationship is very, very healthy. And I really trust Pastor Jimmy that sometimes when I'm traveling, I tell him, I have left the church to you.
Wow.
So go there and preach and tell me what is happening there. So when I'm away, I call him and say, how was the church? How are things? Then he tells me everything is fine. When he travels, he tells me, I have gone. You must come.
Wow.
Come and check what is happening. And then he calls me and he asks me, how is everything?
Wow.
I tell him everything is fine. So our relationship is natural, is spiritual, is sweet, is flowing, is wonderful, is amazing.
May God give all of us such relationships. Wow.
I think if he was a lady, I would have married him.
Fire! Pastor Mercy, you must protest.
But he's too bearded.
Wow.
And the voice is not nice.
Pastor Jimmy and Bishop Dodzweit, thank you so much for sharing your journey with us, your story with us. I know that we've been inspired, challenged, we've been left hungry for more. And thank you so much. You're a blessing. Can you help me appreciate these men of God?